I've got to pronounce this all because we're live now. So we're here on our engine room chat on a first Monday of the month, and I'm here with Jeff, otherwise known as Chili Jam Jeff, and as well as Dave from Changing Pace. And it's just a little chat about engine room stuff, or narrowboat stuff, and it's not saying what we say is right. But it's just our opinion, and any questions that come up on the right-hand side, we'll go through them. We won't do them at the end. We'll go through them as they come up. So my question, because we've had so much rain this last few weeks, is leaky windows, mushrooms, and then the third bit's rust.
Rust?
Yeah, rust. I'll get onto it why in a minute. So leaky windows, who has them?
Yeah,
I've got loads of them.
Got one.
You got one?
Two.
Got one that I don't know, because I've recently had all the windows out of the boat, cleaned them all down, put them back in, resealed them, and I've got one that leaks in a particular place, and I cannot. I've tried all sorts, cannot cure it.
Really? Do you think it's the?
No, it's not leaking through the frame. I think it must be a split in the seal. You know where the glass actually seals. I think it must be a split in the seal somewhere, and because it don't leak all the time. It only leaks if we have rain from a certain direction.
Yeah, same here. Exactly the same. Jeff, you're the same, Jeff, aren't you? I think
one direction it just pours in. Apart from that, it's fine.
Yours comes in the top though, Jeff. Well, actually,
top.
Just the top bit.
You open the window, it's no problem. Just open the window. It drips on the window and goes out.
Yeah, it's like the top of the frame. And yet, I mean, our windows have got. I mean, ours are hopper windows than ours, and our seal all the way around the side of the window is there's not a gap in it anywhere, because I've checked it and I've resealed it and I've done it, and you can't see any gap between the paint and the edge of the thing. And you can pour water over and it comes straight off. But ours seems to be on the frame, you know, like where the hopper sits, where the stuff gets into the frame, and it sort of fills up the bottom tray bit, you know, on the inside, where you and then it seems to drip on, obviously, because the way naturally the boat sits back, it always drips from the back end of the boat. We've got one of those top drips as well that Jeff's talking about, but ours, definitely those two. Yeah, definitely. In fact, it's probably just these two and maybe one down the back that does it, and it's like loads. The rain we've had, we'll have to put, if I know it's going to rain, we're going to have to put towels out. And again, it's only particular angle straight on the side comes in, leaks. I mean, I haven't taken the windows out, but I think it's the integrity of the frame, something within the frame that's leaking. Whether it's the glass seal, I put new seals in them as well. I put new glass seals all the way around, and all I can think is that it's getting into the framework, and the framework is leaking. So,
and it don't go out the drain out at the bottom.
Some of it does, but it's too much for it, and then it just pours into the boat. Well, pours
in front of it. Why don't you put another little hole in it further back?
What, in the frame on the outside? What do you reckon, Dave? You like?
Yeah, I don't know, because I'd agree with what you were saying, where the boat tilting back, but the window that we've got leaking is at the back of the boat, and our windows are quite big. They're 4 foot by 2 foot windows, and they've got a series of 3 drain holes at either end of the window, and it's not the 3 holes that's at the lowest point that's leaking, it's at the other end, and I can't see where it's actually leaking from. But our windows are uppers, they slide, the whole window slides sideways, like an old bus window. And I've I've even tried that Captain Tully's creeping crack cure. Have you heard of that?
No.
No.
It's like a boating friend of mine recommended it, and it's you buy it in a little plastic carton, and you just run it around, and it sort of like works by capillary action. It sort of like finds all cracks and then seals them.
All right.
So I've treated it with that once. It hasn't cured it, but it says if there's a big gap, you have to put several
Goes out.
Layers of it.
treatments on it. So that's sort of like my last resort.
What was that called?
Captain Tully's creeping crack cure.
That's
Try saying that quickly.
yeah.
And I honestly thought he was taking a mick when he told me.
Yeah,
And he
yeah.
says, no. He says, honestly, go online and Google it. And it's true. And I bought some and I've used it on my van. I've cured a leaking roof on my van with it. So
Yeah.
it does work.
Where did you get it from?
I got it online. Yeah. And I think I got it off Amazon. But there's only one seller. I think it's the people that make it sell it. I think you can get it from Chandler's and stuff like that.
So-
But obviously they charge more for it.
Captain Crack.
Tully's
In
Captain
Captain Tully's creeping crack cure.
right, Jesus Christ. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We'll have a look. I'll have a look at it. I might try. And where would you put it in the frame? Would you put it in where the glass?
He bought it for his boat because he'd got leaking windows, and he run it round, you know, where the seal on the outside of the frame, where the frame sits against the boat. He just run a bead round that because he'd got water coming in from the outside, and he just run a bead round it, and it's cured it.
Yeah, I've just seen that Martin Fro, who watches our videos, and he said when he ran a car spare shop, we used to when he ran a car shop, they used to sell a product called Seek and Seal.
Yeah, I would imagine it's same stuff.
Yeah, he said it's similar to what you're discussing, and it works very well. So I might put that in as well and see if that comes up.
It comes out at tube in as a white liquid. You only put it on very sparingly, but when it sets clear.
Right.
You know, it's not like putting white mastic on and it looking horrible. You know, it does set clear. So
yeah. I'll have to give it a go. Judy thought that was really funny anyway. Funny that name of that. Yeah, I think it is Judith as well. So I'll give that a go. I know, Jeff, you're going to take your windows out in the summer.
Yeah, I'm going to take them out. The two that are leaking, I'm going to take out.
You'll take out and see what's going on.
So that's the only two. After I've fitted them little splash things, that's the only two. And they always leak when we bought the boat. It would leak when we bought it.
Yeah, Jeff had some little seals made, like you'd have above your duck feeders. He's made little seals which sort of threw the rain off of them, and it seemed to work for a bit, didn't it? And then when it was more directional,
like eyelids, if you know what I mean. They're just like little peaks that go over the top. Take the screws out on the top, drop it in behind, and use the same holes, and it's just like a peak, and it just bounces the water out of the way.
Deflects the rain away from the window.
Yeah.
You had a mate for all the windows, didn't you? In the end, so
yeah.
All matched. They're only little. They're not very big. They just come out, sort of that far, and he painted them and sealed them. So they look all right. They look cool. It's just they were working, and then they sort of. I think it's just how heavy the rain is in the direction.
Yeah, I think it's a lot to do with the wind direction, the way it's because you know what it was like down there this weekend. It was like shit coming in, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was really heavy, and because we're quite open here, it is like you get battered from both sides. Depending which way in the road, because you've got open fields one way and pretty open the other. The canal's the other. So, but Martin says that Seek and Seal is almost water and clear, so it's very thin and clear, and you apply it at the top of the window, and it creeps down around the frame, and it worked fantastically on old cars. So basically,
same stuff, doesn't it?
Yeah, you run it around the seal. Yeah, I'm definitely going to try something like that and see what happens. But that gets to my next question from Windows. Was basically I lifted the floor in our kitchen again last week, and there was water in there again, and there was water down the back after the heavy rain that we'd had. It's never a lot, but it's it's enough, and it was all the floor that I'd treated before, and it had started to make it go rusty again. So that was my next question of rust, and what cures, what's the best stuff to use, what's everyone used? Because what I did was I just cleaned it all off last time, and I used a Hammerite straight, rust-proof paint, but it's still coming through.
The thing I've ever used is a thing called Zinc Rich Primer. I did a bit on a Land Rover bulkhead, cut it out, painted it, and that rust never ever come back.
Did it not?
The actual tin weighs a ton.
Does it?
Yeah, it's not
boat sort of weight.
It is really heavy.
What is it? Is it like a paint?
Yeah, it's called Zinc Rich Primer.
Right, and is it a paint on or a spray?
Yeah, yeah. Good. I'd have some of that again. It was done a good. It never ever come back.
Yeah, Judith says try. Is it Furtan? I think I've heard that before. I've heard the Furtan before. I've heard of somebody else that used that. And Graham Cooper said Aqua Steel is amazing. I've never heard. That sounds like a similar sort of thing. If it's Aqua Steel, so that to me sounds like liquid. Is it like a liquid? Almost like a liquid steel, isn't it? It sounds like a water steel, but yeah.
I think a mate of mine uses that aqua stuff.
Yeah.
But I think all the rust treatments are much of a muchness. I think they all do the same business.
Yeah.
But I think you can't just use that. Once you've treated the rust, you've got to paint over it with something. But when I did the shell of this before I put the ballast in, I painted it with black bitumen, the whole bottom of the boat. Then I put like a pond liner plastic sheeting down, and then put the ballast in that, so it didn't. If it moved, it didn't scrape the paint off. But we have. Before I did the spray foam insulation, we used to have a lot of water through condensation in bottom of the boat, and probably I used to take 10 litres of water out of bottom of the boat every couple of weeks in winter.
Really?
Yeah.
Mine condensation.
But since we've done the spray foam, because I've got an hatch outside where I check, I've only had to clean it out once this year. I probably took about 5-6 litres out. So that's through from October through to January.
Does your boat go all the way through to the back from the water? Does it drain all the way through?
It goes right through to engine bulkhead. So
right, that's the issue. Mine's got steel dividers all the way down.
Yeah, mine has, but there's the corners cut out of the dividers, so it runs all the way down to the bike.
On the corners, I think mine is, but I think it is, but I think it seems to retain it quite well in each bit.
All right.
It doesn't seem to drain down as much as you'd hope. Put it that way.
Because it's only the last 3 sections of the floor that actually get any water in, and as you I use just a sponge to mop it out, and you can see it as you mop one section out, it runs down into the last section. So the draining is working.
How was your bottom of your boat looking though? Is it rusted at all?
It has rusted, yeah. But what I'll do when in summer, because it was dry all summer, I was checking it.
Ours was really dry, yeah.
Because I weren't sure whether we got a leak somewhere on a water pipe with that amount of water under. But all through the summer, it was as dry as a bone. And I'll just paint it with some bitumen and just keep it a bit protected, like.
You haven't found yours, Jeff, have you yet?
Can't find. I don't know where it will be. I have to have a look. Can't find it
at all. We've not been out. Jeff's had a look in the back of his boat, and you can't find her. You can't find it. There's got to be an inspecting hatch somewhere.
See, when I did mine, I didn't put an inspection hatch in. I was stupid, but I cut one in because we came back to the boat one. I think we'd been on holiday and we came back to the boat, and there was that much water in. It had come up above the floor.
Really?
Yeah. And it was like, what the, and I think that took us about 5 or 6 hours to get that water out. I ended up taking bilge pump at an engine bay at bilge, rigging it up inside and pumping it out through the window to get it most of it out.
Right. That's a lot of water.
Yeah, but at that point I didn't know that we were getting water in through condensation, so it accumulated over probably 3 or 4 years.
Really?
Till it got to the point where I could see it, and that's when I cut an inspection hatch in corner at floor, so I could keep an eye on it.
Yeah. In our boat, the whole floor comes up throughout the whole boat, because running from back to front are the steel and rubber pipes for the hydraulic bow thruster. So literally every part of the floor, well, say some of it over time, people have built rooms so you can't get some of the panels up because they put a room out, a dividing wall up halfway across, and I can't get to it. But you can almost get your arm. You can get your arm under there. So every time I do a room, I take everything up as best I can and treat it and repaint it as best I can. Because before the slabs were sitting straight on the floor, and they were sweating underneath the gap between the slab and the floor, and not allowing the water to run off.
Maybe I should have a hole.
Yeah, you got.
Yeah, you need to make one, Jeff.
Under the bed, I think, out the way.
Yeah, it'd be under the bed, or there might be. I'll be amazed if they didn't, because did Wilton refit your boat? Didn't they? They've refitted it, so you'd have thought they'd have wanted to see. Someone must have been under the floor at some point. Because even on a survey, it was one of the things that came up on the survey in our old boat, that we didn't have an inspection action. The bloke drilled a hole in a cupboard, just a little round hole. One of those sort of cutters about that big. He just drilled it straight through, and there was a little bit of water in there, so I ripped the whole floor up in the kitchen to find out what it was.
What I do, I'll pull one of the drawers out from under the bed and then drill a hole there somewhere.
Yeah. Just make sure, obviously, you've got no sink down the back of your. Where's your hot water tank? Under your bed, isn't it?
The bed.
Yeah. So just make sure it's up to that.
It won't be over that.
Away from any pipes, just in case.
Yeah, fine.
Just in case, yeah. So I'm just reading, see if there's anything.
Martin said he's heard of zinc-rich paint. It's good stuff. It is good stuff.
Yeah.
I think there's I think either Screwfix or Tool Station sell a galvanizing spray.
Yeah, sounds.
That's a similar sort of thing as zinc-rich. That's quite good.
This zinc-rich primer, if you do any hot work on a bit of metal afterward, it actually blisters up like zinc.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, it's really good stuff.
Yeah. So here we go. Here's a question. I'm going to try and be clever now. You ready? Let's try and be clever.
This is going to go wrong then.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. So Steve says, what do you think about small fans circulating the air under the floor? I hope you didn't mind me putting that up, Steve. I've never heard that before.
I've heard a pipes going, blowing a fan blowing hot air down a pipe with a load of holes in, but not actually a fan under them.
Yeah, I've heard. You know the little fans at what you get in computers.
Yeah.
I've heard of people putting them under the floor to circulate the air, and in sort of like you know, if you've got a wardrobe that you get a bit of condensation in and stuff like that, putting them in there. I don't know how well they work. I've never tried it myself, but I have heard of people doing it.
Yeah. Steve says computer fans. Yeah, I've done that in our bathroom and in our kitchen. In the kitchen, the 12-volt light, I've hooked up through the mushroom with a computer fan.
Yeah.
Someone told me about doing it, and it basically, when it's smoky in the kitchen, you turn the light on, it turns the fan on, it draws the smoke through the mushroom. And I did the same in the bathroom as well. So there's a little fan when you're in the shower, you turn that light on, and it draws the condensation out of the room.
Bit like an extractor fan.
Yeah, like an extractor fan, but just a little 12-volt computer fan that just sits in the mushroom, and you can take it out if you need to take it out. And it's just because our lights are right next to all of our mushrooms, I've just wired it off of a 12-volt light, because apparently the draw from them's tiny.
Yeah.
It's like nothing. You know, the wires that you get from that was the hardest thing about doing that, was the wires were so thin, just connecting them. They were just, you had not much to sort of go on.
How did you connect them? Did you crimp them or?
Just crimped them with I soldered the ends to give it a bit of a. So I had something to grab hold of and put it in some. I think I put them, if I remember rightly, I put them on some 20 amp crimps, because they're only small and they only come on literally with the light. So that is a bit of a pain in the arse. It does drive Lisa mad when she turns the kitchen light on, because obviously we've got a big LED light which we use most of the time, which is on there, but the light there when she puts if we're not running off of the inverter or the mains, if she switches that on, then the fans go. So it's like, you know what I mean, it's just one of those. But yeah, I've heard of the computer fans. I've heard of people doing that by their fires as well, to push down the heat. Someone built a bank of 3 on top of by their fire to push the heat down the boat.
You got one of them stovetop fans?
Yeah, I've got one of those. Yeah, no, they just did it as an extra. They sort of put it behind on the wall, and it just pushed air a bit more. A bit. I don't know. They could move it around, and we do have the fans on top. But he just said he'd done it, and it was a bit more effective than the fans. I don't know how, because obviously the heat was rising. He put it near the roof, so it was pushing it down from the roof a bit further up the roof. But not something I have tried. I never heard of that before. I'm going to go with a special click again. Let's have a try. Well, let's hide that one. And then go this one. This one. I never knew that.
You can get solar extractor too.
I've never seen a solar extractor.
Is that new to me? That
won't work at night though, will it?
No. Unless it's got batteries in it, it might charge up.
Rechargeable batteries in it.
Yeah, it might be like like the lights you get. You sort of just a little. I don't know. I'll have to Google that. But thanks, David, for that. I've not heard of that. I'll Google that later and see who does it and what the score is with that. And then I've got Mark on the side there who's just saying hello to. He's saying Mark's from Colorado saying hello to us all.
Hello, Mark.
Hello, Mark.
And Barely Floating says a lot of porous and need top coats.
What?
Hold on, I'll show it to you. There you go. Boom. I'm getting good at that.
You're getting good at it.
Yeah.
A lot of primers, yeah.
Porous and need top coats. Yeah. I mean, under the floor, I just used that. It's probably not the best stuff to use, and everyone's going to throw their hands up. But it was It was Hammerite direct to rust stuff that I used.
Any paint's better than no paint.
Yeah, well, the reason I did it is because it meant because when you put water in it before, it used to just hang around in a particular area, and when I painted it with that stuff, it ran off really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So my idea was if I can get it to run to a certain place and then concentrate it, whereas before it was just not, it was sticking to the floor. You know what I mean? It just wouldn't move because it was like rusty, so just hanging around in those sort of bits.
I think rust does tend to absorb water. It clings to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, when I scraped up some, when you get some quite a bit of surface rust, when I scraped it up, it would normally be wet underneath.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, when you took it away. So any time I do a section of the boat, I scrape it off. I scrape it off to get it to dry it out. But like you, Dave, my ours during the summer is dry as a bone under the floor. It's only during the winter that we collect it. So
I think it is I think it is condensation, and I don't think you're ever going to get rid of that 100%.
No, it's just going to have to be. You're just going to hope that during the summer it dries out enough not to rot your boat out from the bottom.
Especially if you're drying clothes in boat as well.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a bad habit of leaving our kettle on stove, so it'll boil and the whistle's broke on kettle, so you don't always know when it's boiling, and it can sit there for a couple of hours, and that steam.
A couple of hours? That's like a sauna, Dave.
Think of all that, say.
But we don't drink tea and coffee, so we just put kettle on for washing up and stuff like that. So it can just sit there for a couple of hours sometimes, and create steam. So that does condensate in your boat, doesn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
I'm seeing it. I've seen this twice now, so I'm not sure how to do this. So I might have to get some help on this. Basically, enjoying the chat, but consider a thumbs up. So I don't know how you do that. I'm not sure how you do that. I might have to get my production manager.
Ever thorn in your side, is it?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Are you there? No, she's got her headphones.
I'm not sure.
Oh, right, okay.
Over here, Lisa.
She don't know how to do it either, so I'm not. I can't see how you put a thumbs up on. I presume that's on comments.
Sue's doing it.
Oh, like a thumbs up. Yeah. I don't know. Hold on. No, I can't see how you do that.
Like button.
The like button. I can't even see a like button. Anyway.
okay. Anyway, yeah.
Well, on that. It might be graphics. Hold on. No, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna break that. So no, I'll work on that another day. Next time, I promise that I will work on how to do thumbs ups. Yeah, everyone's putting thumbs up now.
Yeah.
Yeah. On the software I'm using, it's a little bit high tech, and I can't see where that works. Anyway, so so I think that's why it's important to use a bilge paint after treating the rust. Yeah, I presume that's the same sort of thing, the bilge paint. I've never actually seen it sort of down as bilge paint. The audience to do it. All right. Yeah. I get it now. So, but apart from that, I think we've covered the windows, we've covered the rust under the doors. Is there anything else that anyone else wanted to talk about? Did you have any other?
Yes.
No, we
Generators. All right, generators. Because I know basically, I know Jeff had some problems with his generators over the.
One wouldn't start. The one that was new wouldn't start, and the old one eventually started. And then the next day, the old one wouldn't start, but the new one restarted. But he's now, he reckons that the new one wanted a good service. And you know that knob on the front that goes run, choke?
Yeah. Was that loose?
He said he's tying up, but he reckoned when he first looked at it, he reckons there's a bush because that operates a carburetor or something. But he hasn't done that. So that's all done and dusted. He's sorted that one out for me.
Right.
And the other one, what he said is obsolete. That carburetor is obsolete. He reckons it's the same as a Kawasaki, so he's ordered a new carburetor for it.
Has he?
Hopefully that should be done and all. And the mower's ready to pick up, the new mower.
We basically, when we took over this mooring, there was an old generator on the mount.
Didn't we? We found it.
Yeah, it had been open to the elements, and it was chained to on a thing just under a tree, and it had been
there for years. I would have thought.
Been there for years and years and years, and we just took a gamble. Jeff took it home, had a bit of tinker with it, and got it going. And it's a 2.2 kVA, so we're keeping it as a backup.
It ran 12 hours a weekend, 12 hours solid. It not miss a beat. It's just when it starts, stops, and then it won't restart. You have to give it a few minutes, then it will start and stop. Do that about 5 times, and then it'll run all day. But it's been sorted now. Your mate sorted it.
Oh, I just saw it. Just going back to another message I've just seen on there. I'm considering running my cold water pipe under the bilge. What do you guys think? I'm not sure about that. I wouldn't do that.
No, you won't get to it.
What do you think, Dave?
You need access to your water pipes, because if you've got it under bilge, then you've got to take floor up to get to it. If there's any leaks, it's colder under there, so it's going to be more susceptible to frost in winter. No, you keep it above floor level so you can see where it is and get to it if anything happens. That's my advice.
Yeah, no, well, I can see mine from front to back, as in I know where it is, as in it's above floor level. I have boxed it in places, but I know I can get to it pretty much anywhere along its length, right down to the back. The only bit I probably can't get to is in the bathroom. Well, no, I can get to actually. I can actually get to it, but yeah. So yeah, no, I wouldn't put it under the fire. Anyway, back to generators. So yeah, I have a luxurious generator because mine, I've got a remote control.
Just showing off.
Yeah, it was an extra £40, and basically from the front of the boat, and the generator from the front of the boat is a good 70 feet away, and it's now got its own little box, as anyone would have seen that I'd made in the thing, and you can start it from and turn it off from inside the boat.
Yeah, very jealous of that.
Yeah, it's well, especially in the weather we've had as well. You know what I mean? The weather, and if it's freezing cold, and you sort of, because we have to turn our generators off at 8 o'clock at night here. They don't like them running past 8, which is fair enough. So it just means you ain't got to go out and unlock it. To be honest with you, for the extra £40, I'd say to anybody that would definitely go for it. It's, you know what I mean? It's just once you put slippers on and you don't want to go out in the rain and the cold. Press the button, off you go. Yeah. So,
how long does it run for, Jeff? Is it petrol?
Mine,
mine, Jeff's are, yeah.
Yeah, 8 hours mine will run on a gallon.
Yeah, mine's a little bit bigger. Mine's a 3.1 kVA. And it depends what we're doing. At 25%, it says it'll run for 8 hours. We sometimes use like the coffee machine and sometimes use the washing machine on it, and that canes it. You know, it'll last six hours, sometimes 4 if we're doing a bit of washing on it. You really hear it when it's when the washing machine kicks in.
Revving its
hair dryer.
Yeah, air dryer and straighteners, which is obviously not for me.
Oh man.
Oh yeah. So Mark says, what separates the men from the boys is the price. Yeah. He bought the remote because he didn't fancy asking Lisa to go and turn it off.
She might probably trod on the phone anyway.
It's what?
She might probably go and trod on the phone anyway.
Yeah, it's a long way out there. Yeah, it's Mrs. Warner's hair care. It is, yeah. we have to put it on in the morning to make sure she's got she can use all the facilities.
Yes.
But to be honest with you, I must admit, considering we've always been hooked up to the mains, it's worked out really well. We're really managing the electric here. It's much better. I mean, yesterday we only ran it for a couple of hours. Some days, if it's a nice day, probably an hour. So
you won't use it at all in the summer. It's just
no. Hopefully, it'll pull enough in from the power.
Do you charge your batteries from it?
Yeah. I've got solar panels, but it's I've got a Sterling Pro charger, and basically I ran the engine yesterday for half an hour or an hour just to run the engine because I like to run it once a month, and then I click it over to the Jenny and switch. We have got a built-in Jenny as well, but it's it runs from the engine, so that means you've got to have the engine running as well. It's hydraulic, 4.6 kVA generator, but it's not regulated at all. So the more you rev it, the faster it goes, the more it generates.
Okay.
Yeah, so you have to be really careful with it. Like the washing machine has to be set at about 1,400 revs on the RPM to use it, and it's just noisy. And you know what I mean, the engine running at 1,400 RPM to me is quite high. So I'd much rather just run a petrol Jenny outside. And I just noticed that Sue, I think, said, did you consider a diesel generator? Or I did consider a diesel generator. I looked at them, but I think they're quite a bit bigger, aren't they?
Massive,
It's what?
Massive, size-wise.
They tend to be a lot bigger, don't they? And I know that's the reason why you can't put petrol generators inside the boat. They just say it's a complete no. So I know you can put diesel ones inside, but it was down to, I think for me it was down to cost and size, weight, and just movability really. And the petrol one seems to be working fine, so I'm quite happy with that. I'll probably get a small one if we're cruising, because our one is quite big. It weighs about 37 kilos, so I might get a
little suitcase one.
Yeah, just for when we go out. Just what Jeff's got. Jeff's got a little. What makes yours, Jeff?
Co, whatever it's called, Atlas Co.
Yeah. It's a little 2 point thing, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. The yellow little suitcase.
And it does him fine. I mean,
everything I want it to do, it charges the battery, runs everything while we're charging the batteries.
Yeah, right. And it's like
when you put the air dryer on, but apart from that, it's
and it's So that's I'll probably try and get hold of one of those at some point, just a second-hand one, just to chuck in, because I won't be using that as much as the other one. So, but yeah, so I think that's it. I think we've covered everything. We've been going for 38 minutes. We have been. So, there was a few of those down there. I think Trev's on there. Yes, you can get Jenny's. A friend of mine has one in the US. Yeah, I knew that diesel ones. That's Trev's Travel by Narrowboat. I'm just going to flick up, see if there was anything I missed. Yeah, no, that. The bilge paint Mark was talking about. It said you can find it on Amazon. It's called Total Bilge.
Right.
Never heard of that one. I'll have a look at that. But yeah, so anyway, I think I'm good. And I think
just before we go, Glenn, have you thought about swapping your Jenny over to run on gas? Is it something you've looked at?
There was a conversion. I did see that when I was looking, and I think it was on that particular generator or one similar or one of their other ones where you could have it on a gas bottle. I would consider it. They were loads more money though. They were quite dear, the ones with the conversions on. And I think that's what, for a little bit, it's quite easy to lug a little can of petrol than it is to bring a bloody gas bottle. Especially where we are, it's about a quarter of a mile to walk to the car.
Yeah, it's further for me.
Yeah, you're a bit further. Jeff's probably got just about half a mile. But so when I looked at the gas ones, I just thought, lugging a gas bottle back and forth. I don't know how long, what the difference is in running. I presume it's like a car. They're not quite as efficient on gas, are
they? No, I mean our van runs on LPG.
Does it?
Our transit, yeah, and it's probably a little bit less miles per gallon, but obviously it's half price, so you're sort of like it's more efficient than a diesel.
Does that run on cold load, or do you have to run it on petrol then switch it over?
Yeah, it starts on petrol till it warms up, till
swap it over.
Water warms up, and then it switches over, because if it has warm water running through the conversion, because it's actually liquid, and then it goes through a diffuser which freezes up to turn it into gas at the engine. So you'd have to have warm water running through it to stop it freezing up. But it probably a minute and a half on petrol in the morning, and then it clicks over to gas, and off you go.
But generally, does that make it cheaper? Is it cheaper? Is it cheaper to run?
Yeah, it will be. Yeah,
a lot cheaper.
Don't they? Air pollution wise.
Yeah, the emissions are zero on it, and I've got 2 tanks on mine. So about 120 litres of gas to fill mine up, which costs about 60 quid, and I get well over 500 mile range on that for 50 quid. So
yeah,
it's well worth it.
I might revisit that. I saw a couple of questions. I'm going to quickly do these questions before we go. Let me put this one up. I'd show it because it's easier to read in the screen. I was wondering, Mr. W, an inverter that turns the generator on when the loads are on. Yeah, you can get that. Our friend's got that. Their generator. Charlie's got in the city of Sheffield narrowboat. Their boat's completely electric, and if their batteries run low, they've got a built-in diesel generator that will kick in if it demands it. It's a bit like the American RVs, when they start using stuff inside. I think their generators come on automatically, some of them, if it needs it. So yeah, no. That system would be great, but we ain't got that. That's it's quite an expensive. They've got all their whole system in their boat is Master Volt.
Not cheap.
No, it was done. It's all top end stuff in their boat. What about the wind turbine? Yeah, I'm still working on that. I'm sort of the actual alternator is still at the office because it's heavy, and I keep on when I go out of all the bags and boxes that I'll bring home. I think. I'll put that there. I'll pick it up, and so I will be bringing it back, and I will be doing that. And barely afloat. Let's put this one up. This one says, "Anyone considered using an electric vehicle battery as a leisure battery?" I do know somebody that's actually got ambulance batteries in their boat, which I presume would be the same. Well, they're not
emergency.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't know how the electric batteries, how good they are and how good they charge up. And I know they're bloody heavy.
Are they lithium or?
I don't know in cars. I'm not sure. I presume they are, but they're just massive, aren't they? They're quite a hefty old thing. I know the new boat in Milton Keynes, which is the community boat, is going to be totally electric. And the weight, they did say about the weight of the batteries, it's a lot of weight. This boat's going to be completely electric. And I can't remember what the stats were, but the weight of the batteries were immense. And the charging time, we were worried that the charging time wouldn't be enough overnight to get them up to date. But apparently there's lots more in it than a car. lots more in it. So, but yeah, anyway, so we'll hide that one. That's very much. We're going to crack in. Yeah. Right. That's it. I think we're done. There's one there. Someone had bought batteries. He bought a Dublin bus company batteries which act as ballast. Yeah, I've heard of people saying that before. They've used it as ballast in the boat as well. But yeah, anyway, I'm going to wrap it up there, I think, because we've been 45 minutes now.
That went quick, didn't it?
It went quick. Yeah, it did go quick. So we'll leave it there, chaps, and I will see you all later. And see you. We're doing it the first Monday of every month, so whenever that works out in March.
So thank you everybody for tuning in.
Yeah, it's been a good constant flow of questions, and there's been a good few people watching, so that's great. Thanks ever so much, and I'll speak to you soon. Cheers.
Bye.
Cheers.